So there's been a lot of discussion. We had a discussion earlier on with David Hertel about this. The government passed a new law. It is called Bill 2, and it severely restricts what doctors, medical specialists in this province can do. It even apparently restricts what they can say. It's one of those stories, in speaking with David Hertel about this, there's so much more to this, but all of it seems to be pretty bad as far as doctors and medical specialists are concerned. So we want to try to get an understanding here. And by the way, Pablo Rodriguez, and we've said, where has this man been? Well, over the weekend, Liberals got together. This is Pablo Rodriguez's message to doctors, short and sweet.
Don't leave. Please don't leave. Wait for a year. We're going to be there. We're going to sit down with you and negotiate.
Please don't leave. Wait a year. There's a provincial election coming up, and then the Liberal Party will sit down and negotiate. Elizabeth Prass is the Liberal MNA for Darcy McGee, and she is on the line. Liz, thank you for being here. Let me begin by asking, reaction to this has been pretty dramatic. The Liberal position on this, beyond what we just heard from Pablo Rodriguez, is what?
He went beyond that to say that we would abolish the bill if elected. We understand that Quebec's healthcare situation is in a place where we are down 2,300 doctors. So rather than give doctors a reason to come into the system, all this bill is doing is giving them a reason to leave, and it's the exact opposite of where we should be.
Yeah, I think everyone understands is the part that's difficult to understand. I'm not going to ask you to analyze it, but I'm trying to sort of figure out who the government thinks they're playing to here, because the Premier went out of his way to say this is not about, punishing doctors. It's about helping Quebecers. From what you've seen, what here helps Quebecers?
That the patient is the one who's going to pay at the end of the day, because doctors will be able to find jobs in other provinces or in other countries, but we're going to have a system with an aging population where it already takes way too long to see a specialist or get a family doctor. That's only going to get worse. So I don't understand what their end game with this bill is, because it's not going to have any positive effects on the system. We're not going to have more operating rooms. Doctors are not going to have more resources to be able to get their job done. So we're perplexed at this approach. Then rather than collaborating, they're really trying to coerce them.
By the way, I heard this thing broke up at 3:30 in the morning before this finally passed. So you were there. What was that like?
Yeah, we were there until about 4 o'clock in the morning. So the bill was deposited about 10 a.m. with 214 articles. 164 of them were new articles as opposed to Bill 106. So by the time, there's obviously a very restrained time that we're able to debate the bill. They were able to get through 8 articles of the 214 that were presented by the government, just to give you an idea of how undemocratic the process was.
By the way, if and when this gets challenged, I think we already heard from the medical specialists that they will go to court. Is that, in this bill, is there something to prevent that from happening? Can that even be the case?
I'll be honest with you, I can't speak to that regard, but as you mentioned before, there are penalties in the bills for doctors that speak out against the system, if you will. There's going to be inspectors and investigators that the government is going to place. So instead of giving more resources to the healthcare system, they're going to hire people to investigate and inspect whether doctors are really doing the job that they're reporting.
Wow. Unbelievable. Anyway, I can't keep saying unbelievable, but again, this is we've started just now discussing this. It's going to be interesting to gauge reaction. Liz, thank you so much for being here. You mentioned doctors, of course, who just for speaking out about this risk getting in trouble. Dr. Arsene-Joseph Basmadjian is a cardiologist at the Montreal Heart Institute. He's an advisor with the Quebec Federation of Medical Specialists, and he is on the line. Dr. Basmadjian, look, I don't want to risk you, being arrested or getting in trouble for speaking out, but what do you make of this?
Well, first, Aaron, I giggled a little bit when you said that, but it's no laughing matter. I was also up Friday night to Saturday morning reading the bill, the 113 pages of this bill, which was originally supposed to be a bill just to try to get us to stop our pressures, our so to speak pressure tactics because of teaching. Now, the bill is obviously not just that. This is a mega bill, and it's a slap in the face of democracy, and it sadly is. Prass said it very well. There's an autocratic state, and we are going to be watched. So I'm speaking obviously on my own behalf. I'm not speaking in the name of the Federation. That has to be clear, because I'm not allowed to do that. I can only give my own personal opinions, because based on the bill, believe it or not, I can be considered somehow responsible for spreading, some kind of resistance against this bill. So it's written in a way where you have to wonder where we live. It's very difficult to take. I've been working all day clinically. I'm on the wards. I'm on call right now. My pager's on, and I just left the wards 5 minutes before just to be able to get on the line. And it's very difficult to take. It's hard to take, and I think the government is trying to deflect the blame. Actually, they've been doing this. It's been a process ongoing for ages now. They've been trying to deflect the blame towards physicians for a system that they have let go over decades, and now this government sadly has not done anything better to help it.
Look, we know negotiations, if we can call them that, have been going on for a while. First, it was Bill 106. There seemed to be some flexibility, and then all of a sudden, the hammer comes down. And as you know, Liz Prass just mentioned, there are so many articles in here that were not even part of Bill 106. More than anything, I think it leaves you just scratching your head, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely, it does. The Bill 106 was already. We weren't going to take Bill 106 at face value, but now this is a punitive bill. There's more than just what was in Bill 106. There's clearly a punishment aspect in this, and we just by saying that we were going to be policed, there's going to be actually in a government that has trouble funding its health system and education, has been making cuts over the last year, $1.5 billion of cuts. They're actually going to apply a resource where in each medical center, and they're going to have inspectors, and their only duty is going to be to make sure that physicians do not modify their practice profile in order to be able to come and slap them on the wrist or give them a fine, and a hefty fine it may be, if they ever do not respect the rules of the law. So you can imagine how much money they're going to be spending just wasted on watching physicians instead of putting those resources to good value.
As I often say, I mean, I hate to bring it up, but the only growth industry in Quebec is inspectors. But look, with respect to what happens down the road, is there a concern here? Because that's what we've heard about doctors choosing either to leave, to retire early because of this. What are you hearing?
Well, I can just give you my own example. I'm a grandfather now, and I'm slowly approaching the age of what I thought would be retirement about 5 years down the line. And I'm reassessing. Obviously, if you could imagine, if too many of us in my center decided to retire, not even leave the province, just to retire, we could be considered in collusion, and we may have penalties, financial penalties for deciding to retire. So will people be thinking about leaving? I mean, you just heard what this whole bill could mean for how physicians will practice. We're basically going to be practicing under the watch of Big Brother. So I think that definitely people will be thinking about either retiring or leaving.
I want you to repeat that for people who didn't quite catch it. In the event that you decide you choose to retire, you could be, based on this new law, you could be charged with colluding somehow to work against this. Is that right?
Correct, if you actually interpret it the way it's written. As long as there's not, now it seems like what constitutes collusion? What we've heard is three people in the same center or three people who know each other. So right now today, we were making sure we weren't more than two doctors at the same time discussing, because who knows who's watching.
That's unbelievable. And part of this as well, from what I understand, is they're basically setting up a snitch line, if you will, where if you work in a center and one doctor, happens to overhear two other doctors, that person is supposed to rat those two doctors out because that's what they're discussing?
Yeah, well, it's hard to believe that what you're saying is true, but
it is.
Way, yes.
I was going to say, it's insane. It truly is. And I know that the specialists are already taking this to court. I understand there's a challenge. I imagine the doctors will challenge this as well. Beyond that, I mean, are you, I know you said you're getting closer to retiring. Are you prepared to wait that year? We heard from Pablo Rodriguez off the top suggesting wait 1 year. When we get into power, if we get into power, we will negotiate with the doctors. And the way things stand now, we know that the CAQ is unlikely to win the next election. It could be a PQ government. It could be a Liberal government. Is the thinking, let's wait this out?
Well, I appreciate that, what has been said, and we hope that we will be able to change this bill. But unfortunately, if everything goes through, there could be already irreparable damage. I want to make one thing clear, though, which is important. Physicians will keep treating patients to the best of our capacities in this broken system. No one's going to stop treating patients. We're not going to use pressure tactics, and we're not allowed to do any pressure tactics, but no patient's care per se will change. Physicians, we're not built that way. We're not trained that way. We're not that kind of people. Deep down inside, physicians all care for the good of their patients. So we will keep giving the best possible care to our patients. Having said that, it's going to be just a lot harder. Believe me, there's a lot of demotivation. People are basically working with their heads down right now. So to the province, to the population, we're going to keep doing the best we can. We already work 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. I mean, when I'm on call like this week, it's 10 to 12-hour days, and it's 7 days a week. Now, maybe I'm not working hard enough. That's what Monsieur Dubé would say. But we need more help, we don't need a stick. We just need more carrots. When I'm talking about carrots, I'm not talking about carrots for us physicians. I'm talking about carrots for the system. We need to make the system better, and we have been negotiating. I know I don't want to go on too long, but we have. All summer we negotiated with a negotiating group. The Federation and the government had advances. The problem was every time it went back upstairs said no.
You want to take a guess as to why?
Because they already had a plan. That's my guess.
So negotiating in bad faith.
Well, that's our impression.
All right. We will leave it at that. I'd like to be able to follow up in a little while with you, Doctor. Very much appreciate your time today and wish you the best of luck, as I do to all doctors who I think work very, very hard, are true to their profession. And thank you for pointing out at the end, this doesn't change anything with the respect that patients will be getting and be treated going forward. So thank you for that.
Much appreciated.
Take care.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.